So it's Monday, and the things I got done were, what did I get done? Oh, this is funny. I could probably have shared this not with the internet, but it's everybody gets to know now. So Shay comes over to our house after work on Wednesdays, just to remind himself that he has a found family, and that's good. He was going to leave, and he jumped over our front planting bed, the one that was bulging and just barely retaining its grip on itself. Well, he smooshed it. It went like Jenga, and he felt so bad. And we were like, dude, it's like we had money on when it was going to do that. All the mortar has failed, and some idiot planted bushes in it at some point. So the root systems were like, nah. But there's nothing planted in it now except a couple of mums and a lavender that I rescued, and a bunch of sunflowers. And I mean, there's sunflowers everywhere. So like, Jason was like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to tear it down and rebuild it properly in the way that with a gap for a front walk. This is a thing that I've wanted since we've moved in. And I was like, can we please do that? And he was like, oh God, the money. And I was like, we can repurpose the bricks. The bricks are fine. That means that we have to pull all the mortar off the bricks. And that's been the big headache. Everything else has gone like satin. When we pulled all the dirt out, it turned out someone had poured a gorgeous concrete footing for that entire planting bed. So like, we don't even have to level it. We just have to slap mortar on bricks and point it semi-decently, and it's going to look, and oh, yeah, once again, the original builders of the house for the win, because it's so pretty. But that was what I was getting to, was I spent an hour or two this morning chiseling mortar off of bricks.
Sure.
Part of that process. And then when it gets too hot, you come inside and you don't do it anymore that day. And I feel like I got more done than that. Oh, Abby's cutter vest is done.
Nice.
It was a bitch to sew because it's really thick fur, so I just kind of did this. I did a whip.
All you really need to do with really thick fur.
It's so thick. I cannot tell where my stitches are, but it's holding together. He's super, super happy. He's still not clear on, he thinks cutter is female, which I'm okay with this, but it's a bit... I feel like he didn't read the comics so much as just look at the pretty pictures.
Indeed. And, he's of a generation where it wouldn't have been weird for there to be a canon lesbian couple. And Cutter's very pretty. It makes sense.
The long eyelashes, the long hair, like, yeah. And yeah, he's going to be Legolas on Saturday morning and Cutter on Saturday afternoon. And so I'm just going to glue some elf ears on him first thing in the morning and just leave them on all day. But I didn't get the plants watered, which I'm supposed to do on Mondays, and I didn't get any like cleaning done, and I didn't get and I didn't get any writing done. That was the other thing. I was like, yay, Mondays, I shall write on Mondays. I didn't write on Monday. Sorry.
I've never gotten the hang of boba. I just I don't know about drinks you can chew.
Right? I used to feel that way. I don't remember what changed my mind.
It's like nuts and cake. I've always had that thing where I don't like cake that has like hard stuff in it.
And I always have loved nuts and cake.
Mm-hmm.
I miss cake. I made chili rellenos tonight with gluten-free batter.
Nice.
It was a lot easier than I thought it would be. Rice flour is my friend.
Rice flour is good stuff.
Although I need to stop deep frying. I had a conversation with my doctor last week where he's like, yeah, stay away from the deep fried from the fat. Stay away from the fatty foods because it's bad. It's hard on your gallbladder, right? And I was like, yes, sir. And since then, I've eaten I don't know how much bacon and deep fried foods. It's like moth to flame. I know it'll hurt me, but when?
Well, I mean, that's a good question.
Also, I was certain that I had gallstones, and the scans showed none. So I'm like, safe for now.
Well, there you go.
Oh,
I'm old.
yeah, likewise. I'm 8 years older than old, apparently. Avi and I finished The Two Towers the other day, so I'm going to be reading Lord of the Rings or Return of the King twice tonight. Yeah. We'll have 2 different bookmarks.
Just don't forget which is which, because God knows I won't remember.
Right? Yeah, I'll try to remember. I'll try. I was reading over him the other day, and I've felt bad about it ever since. Like, no. Lord of the Rings is a book where you pause and discuss what kind of spider Shelob is. That was the thing he wanted. And I wanted to talk over him because we were in the middle of a fight scene. He wanted to know if Shelob was a wolf spider.
Ooh, I've always thought that she wasn't a wolf spider because wolf spiders are like fuzzy, and I've always thought of her as more like a Black Widow type with the really big body.
Right, but not a Black Widow because she has livid green blotches on her underbelly. So what kind of spider is that? Also, her knees are way up above her back. So she's got the...
Right. Well, I don't think she's any like Earth species of spider. I think, but like if I had to pick one that would most closely resemble, I would go with that, and then like make some modifications. And I'm actually like creeping myself out. You can't see, but I have goosebumps.
Sorry, he's watching gamers play a game called Ground, I think, and there's a something hedge mother spider, and he's convinced that the hedge mother is a real type of spider, and he had me Google it. So I've done an image search for, and the hedge mother is just modeled on a wolf spider. So reading about Shelob, he was like, "Hey, is Shelob a hedge mother?" Basically, like, well, no, but you found yet another fantasy thing that has borrowed from Tolkien, who himself borrowed from ancient sagas that everyone else was ignoring.
I don't know if the giant spiders are from the sagas, though.
They're from his childhood. At least so I hear. Tolkien had a traumatizing experience with a large spider when he was like 3 in South Africa. And that's why they're always turning up in his fiction. Oh, shit. You read last. We are not here anymore.
I did. I mean, God knows how much. Probably not very much, but...
A bit. More than usual. We didn't want to interrupt as much, I think.
By the way, I have no craft project today because I know that the cat is asleep behind me right here, as you can see. But the second I pull out some yarn, she's going to be on this table.
You need like clay or something that you can...
Yeah, but I don't have any.
I'll send you Sculpey. Oh yes, though the stones be lost, they say still the lords of Gondor have keener sight than lesser men. And we were like, I don't have a Palantir.
Me? Why would you say I have a Palantir? What? That's not nonsense. Why did that even come to your mind?
But the seeing stones might not all be lost. But I don't have one.
What's that book? I Want My Hat Back, where it's like, I don't have a hat. I don't have a Palantir. I would not steal a Palantir. Why are you asking me?
We have that book. It's so dark.
I know. I love it.
Have you seen my friend? He's a rabbit. I didn't eat a rabbit. Why would I eat a rabbit? How dare you accuse me?
Look, in his defense, if the rabbit hadn't have stolen his hat, he wouldn't have eaten him.
It's true. It's
Probably.
true. These things work that way. That author wrote a couple more books that were a lot. I don't think they were as dark. Woo, woo, woo. Checking for echo.
I figured I didn't. That's not typically how you express excitement. Whoa. Whoa. I'm like, you're not doing your own Doppler effects here.
Then men came bearing a chair and a low stool, and one brought a salver with a silver flagon and cups and white cakes.
Easy to say. Salver with a silver flagon.
Yeah.
Totally fine.
And the salver with the flagon is the has the pellet with the poison.
Oh, that movie's so good.
It really is. I need to show it to the kids. It's on my list of things I need to show to the kids. They still haven't seen either of the 3 Drag Queens Take a Road Trip movies, and that upsets me.
I'll be interested to hear their reactions to them, because I feel like those movies are so good, but they're also so specific to their era. I don't know if all of the jokes will translate.
Right? But if you're going to exist in trans culture, which they do, my kids do, then knowing the more they can about history, the better.
Indeed, especially since a lot of trans kids their age don't know jack shit about history and would be like, this movie is really problematic.
Yeah, no.
Which,
you don't
like, yeah. Don't get me started.
Right?
Context, people.
It's crucial.
Mm-hmm.
And white cakes. Pippin sat down, but he could not take his eyes from the old lord. Was it so, or had he only imagined it, that as he spoke of the stones, a sudden gleam of his eye had glanced upon Pippin's face? I have no palate.
But I'm not an alien. But I don't have a palate.
Then I'll ram my ovipositor down your throat and lay my eggs in your chest. But I'm not an alien.
There's a video, I think it's from Parks and Rec, which I haven't actually watched, but it's 2 people like walking through a park and they're going, "Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't." And that's what I'm thinking of right now.
Right. Oh, shoot, that was a lot of boba. I was thirsty and now my mouth is full.
This is why this is what I'm saying. Can't get the hang of it.
Now tell me your tale, my liege, said Denethor, half kindly, half mockingly. For the words of one whom my son so befriended will be welcome indeed. Pippin never forgot that hour in the great hall under the piercing eye of the Lord of Gondor, stabbed ever and anon by his shrewd questions, and all the while conscious of Gandalf at his side, watching and listening, and, so Pippin felt, holding in check a rising wrath and impatience. When the hour was over and Denethor again rang the gong, Pippin felt worn out. It cannot be more than 9 o'clock, he thought. I could now eat 3 breakfasts on end. Lead the Lord Mithrandir to the housing prepared for him, said Denethor, and his companion may lodge with him for the present, if he will. But be it known that I have now sworn him to my service, and he shall be known as Peregrine, son of Paladin, and be taught the lesser passwords. Is that a height joke?
I was just about to say, why only the lesser passwords, dude? Come on. Very nice.
Send word to the captains that they shall wait on me here as soon as may be after the 3rd hour has rung. And you, my lord Mithrandir, shall come too, as and when you will. None shall hinder your coming to me at any time, save only in my brief hours of sleep. Let your wrath at an old man's folly run off, and then return to my comfort. Folly, said Gandalf. Nay, my lord, when you are a dotard, you will die.
What?
You can use even your grief as a cloak. Do you think that I do not understand your purpose in questioning for an hour one who knows the least while I sit by? If you understand it, then be content, returned Denethor. Pride would be folly that disdained help and counsel at need, but you deal out such gifts according to your own designs. Yet the Lord of Gondor is not to be made the tool of other men's purposes, however worthy.
Am I the only one that can't hear the word purpose without immediately putting it into my head as porpoise?
You are not the only one.
I shall not be made a tool of other men's porpoises.
I was a glorious porpoise t-shirt out there, and I kind of want it.
Mm-hmm. I once made a porpoise joke of that sort and made the dolphin noise in a work meeting, and nobody got it. That was fun. I didn't look at all insane.
Did they ask you to explain it? Because that would be the worst.
No, they kind of blinked and then they pretended I hadn't said anything.
Okay, the second worst.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
And to him there is no purpose higher in the world as it now stands than the good of Gondor. And the rule of Gondor, my lord, is mine, and no other man's, unless the king should come again.
And what are the chances of that, right? But I don't have a Palantir.
Unless the king should come again, said Gandalf. Well, my lord steward, it is your task to keep some kingdoms still against that event, which few now look to see. In that task you shall have all the aid that you are pleased to ask for. But I will say this, the rule of no realm is mine, neither of Gondor nor any other, great or small. But all worthy things that are in peril as the world now stands, those are in my care. And for my part, I shall not wholly fail of my task, though Gondor should perish, if anything passes through this night that can still grow fair or bear fruit and flower again in days to come. For I also am a steward. Did you not know? And with that, the ultimate neg, he turned,
such a shady bitch.
So just cast the shade. And with that, he turned and strode from the hall with Pippin running at his side. Mic drop.
Gandalf, oh, haven't you heard?
I'm a better steward than you are.
If you want to play whose kingdom is bigger, you should know that I'm the steward of the world.
Who's got a bigger stewardship around here? These old men and their stewardship measuring contests.
I'm singing.
Right. Gandalf did not look at Pippin or speak a word to him as they went. Their guide brought them from the doors of the hall and then led them across the court of the fountain into a lane between tall buildings of stone. After several turns, they came to a house close to the wall of the citadel upon the north side, not far from the shoulder that linked the hill with the mountain. Within, upon the first floor above the street, up a wide carven stair, he showed them to a fair room, light and airy, with goodly hangings of dull gold sheen unfigured. It was sparely furnished, having but a small table, 2 chairs, and a bench. But at either side there were curtained alcoves and well-clad beds within, with vessels and basins for washing. In your bed? Okay.
No thanks. Especially not if it's stuffed with like straw or feathers, because that shit gets moldy.
Right? That's why the room is so well ventilated.
Ick.
There were 3 high, narrow windows that looked northward over the great curve of Anduin, still shrouded in mists, towards the Emmenwheel and Rauros far away. Pippin had to climb on the bench to look out over the deep stone sill. "Are you angry with me, Gandalf?" he said, as their guide went out and closed the door. "I did the best I could." "You did indeed," said Gandalf, laughing suddenly, and he came and stood beside Pippin. Ha ha ha.
You did indeed.
And he came and stood beside Pippin, putting his arm about the hobbit's shoulders and gazing out of the window. Pippin glanced in some wonder at the face now close beside his own, for the sound of that laugh had been gay and merry. Yet in the wizard's... Stop it, you!
What?
You're laughing gay.
Look, I don't have any other way to laugh. I'm sorry.
Yet in the wizard's face he saw at first only lines of care and sorrow, though as he looked more intently he perceived that under all there was a great joy, a fountain of mirth enough to set a kingdom laughing were it to gush forth. "Indeed, you did your best," said the wizard, "and I hope that it may be long before you find yourself in such a tight corner again between 2 such terrible old men. Still, the Lord of Gondor learned more from you than you may have guessed, Pippin. You could not hide the fact that Boromir did not lead the company from Moria, and that there was one among you of high honor who was coming to Minas Tirith, and that he had a famous sword. Men think much about the stories of old days in Gondor, and Denethor has given long thought to the rhyme, and to the words Isildur's bane since Boromir went away. He is not as other men of this time, Pippin, and whatever be his descent from father to son, by some chance the blood of Westernesse runs nearly true in him, as it does in his other son Faramir, and yet did not in Boromir, whom he loved best. He has long sight. He can perceive, if he bends his will thither, much of what is passing in the minds of men, even of those that dwell far off. It is difficult to deceive him and dangerous to try. Remember that.
He doesn't have a Palantir.
He doesn't have a Palantir. He reads minds of people far away. Because Numenor.
Because it's the blood of Westernesse.
It's the blood of Westernesse, man.
No. Although it is true that Faramir read Gollum's mind.
You're right.
Like
Gollum wasn't that far away, though.
Well, Gollum wasn't far away. No, he had to like look into his eyes to do it. But like, there's that whole thing. I was reading a fan theory about this that like potentially Faramir had that ability partly because Gandalf had trained him.
Oh no, we were discussing this.
Oh,
like,
really?
Okay. Like Faramir would be following him around while he was a kid, and Gandalf would occasionally be like, "Oh, by the way, if you ever need to read someone's mind, do this." Now go away. I'm tired of children.
Yeah. Sounds like Gandalf.
Sounds like us too. It's a valid fan theory. We ought to start writing these down. Yeah, my favorite of the discussions so far are the backstories from Ablung and Damrod, and why the hell didn't they know there would be a spider in Spider Pass? Thus far.
Why is it called Spider Pass? I don't know. It's a mystery.
Maybe there's lots of little spiders. Maybe the road branches into 8 legs.
Did we discuss whether it would be better or worse if there were lots of little spiders instead of one big spider?
We didn't discuss whether it would be worse. It would definitely be worse.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, when you there's those videos of someone like trying to squish a spider and then it turns out there's lots of baby spiders on it and they just like I don't like that.
I don't like that. Or when you see something fuzzy in a crack in the wall and somebody ruffles their fingers through it and turns out to be thousands of daddy long legs that scatter.
Okay, first of all, why on earth, I have goosebumps again, why on earth would you ruffle your fingers through a fuzzy thing in a crack in a wall? You're asking for it to be thousands of daddy long legs.
Well,
I have no
these
sympathy.
people do it knowing that that's what it is because they don't like jump.
Ugh.
They're just trying to scatter the daddy long legs.
Oh man, that I also kind of feel nauseous now. Let's talk about something else. Yeah, he doesn't have a Palantir. Totally, definitely
No
not
Palantir
in any way.
Oh, remember that, for you are now sworn to his service. I do not know what put it into your head or your heart to do that, but it was well done. I did not hinder it, for generous deeds should not be checked by cold counsel. It touched his heart as well, may I say it, as pleasing his humour, and at least you are free now to move about as you will in Minas Tirith, when you are not on duty, for there is another side to it. You are at his command, and he will not forget. Be wary still. He fell silent and sighed. Excuse me. Whoa.
What? Oh, are you testing for echo again?
Controlling the echo, like it resets the mic or something. Not that time. Whoa. Whoa. Okay. Now I can't hear myself echoing.
Good. Good. Good.
Yep, 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 yep.
Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm.
Well, no need to brood on what tomorrow may bring. For one thing, tomorrow will be certain to bring worse than today for many days to come.
Thank you, Mr. Sunshine over here.
And there is nothing more that I can do to help it. The board is set and the pieces are moving. One piece that I greatly desire to find is Faramir, now the heir of Denethor. I do not think that he is in the city, but I have had no time to gather news. I must go, Pippin. I must go to this Lord's Council and learn what I can. But the enemy has the move, and he is about to open his full game. And pawns are likely to see as much of it as any. Peregrine, son of Paladin, soldier of Gondor. Sharpen your blade. And tighten your anus.
I was going to say britches, but okay, let's go. Let's go in a different direction, I guess.
Gandalf went to the door, and there he turned. I am in haste, Pippin, he said. Do me a favor when you go out, even before you rest if you are not too weary. Go and find Shadowfax and see how he is housed. These people are kindly to beasts, for they are a good and wise folk, but they have less skill with horses than some, meaning me.
Is there anyone he doesn't nag?
Himself.
That's true.
He totally does. He has called himself an absolute fool more than once.
Yep. So no, nobody.
We're coming up on one of my favorite implied conversations in the whole book. I think we've discussed that though before.
I think you mentioned it last week.
Right?
I don't remember if we discussed it though.
We might have to. With that, Gandalf went out, and as he did so, there came the note of a clear, sweet bell ringing in a tower of the citadel. 3 strokes it rang like silver in the air, and ceased, the 3rd hour from the rising of the sun. After a minute, Pippin went to the door and down the stair and looked about the street. The sun was now shining warm and bright, and the towers and tall houses cast long, clear-cut shadows westward. High in the blue air, Mount Mindolluin lifted its white helm and snowy cloak. Armed men went to and fro in the ways of the city, as if going at the striking of the hour to changes of post and duty. 9 o'clock we'd call it in the Shire, said Pippin aloud to himself. Just the time for a nice breakfast by the open window in spring sunshine. And how I should like breakfast. Do these people ever have it, or is it over? And when do they have dinner, and where? Presently he noticed a man clad in black and white coming along the narrow street from the center of the citadel towards him. Pippin felt lonely and made up his mind to speak as the man passed, but he had no need. The man came straight up to him. You are Peregrine the Halfling? He said. I am told that you have been sworn to the service of the Lord and of the city. Welcome. He held out his hand, and Pippin took it. I am named Beregond, son of Baranor. I have no duty this morning, and I have been sent to you to teach you the passwords and to tell you some of the many things that, no doubt, you will wish to know. And for my part, I would learn of you also, for never before have we seen a halfling in this land, and though we have heard rumor of them, little is said of them in any tale that we know. Moreover, you are a friend of Mithrandir. Do you know him well? Well, said Pippin, I have known of him all my short life, as you might say, and lately I have travelled far with him. But there is much to read in that book, and I cannot claim to have seen more than a page or two. Yet perhaps I know him as well as any but a few. Aragorn was the only one of our company, I think, who really knew him. Aragorn, said Beregond. Who is he? Oh, stammered Pippin.
Shit.
He was a man who went about with us. I think he is in Rohan now. You have been in Rohan, I hear. There is much that I would ask you of that land also. Way to steer the convo, dude.
Nice.
For we put much of what little hope we have in its people. But I am forgetting my errand, which was first to answer what you would ask. What would you know, Master Peregrine? Well, said Pippin, if I may venture to say so, rather a burning question in my mind at present is, well, what about breakfast and all that? I mean, what are the meal times, if you understand me, and where is the dining room, if there is one? And the inns? I looked, but never a one could I see as we rode up, though I had been borne up by the hope of a draught of ale as soon as we came to the homes of wise and courtly men. He's got a good point. You'd hate to be camping for months and then be like, oh, a city! I can finally get a coffee! Oh, they don't have any. Everything's shut.
Right. I can't wait to eat something that wasn't cooked over a fire on my own shield.
Right.
And there's no restaurants here. Great. Cool.
Have an apple.
What do you guys eat?
So,
Anything?
yeah. Beregond looked at him gravely. An old campaigner, I see, he said. They say that men who go warring afield look ever to the next hope of food and of drink, though I am not a travelled man myself. Fill your boots with soup.
That's monstrous regiment, right?
It totally is,
Yeah.
yes. Then you have not yet eaten today? Oh, well, yes, to speak in courtesy, yes, said Pippin, but no more than a cup of wine and a white cake or two by the kindness of your lord. But he racked me for it with an hour of questions, and that is hungry work. Beregond laughed. At the table small men may do the greater deeds, we say. Why do you say that?
I'm a small man with a giant... No.
Why is that a saying in Gondor? You know what they say at the table, small men do mighty deeds.
Right? Who says that?
When
When did they
what?
start saying that?
The context.
Sorry, the cat needs attention. Yes, ma'am. Can I help you? Would you like to come sit on my lap while we read Lord of the Rings?
But you have broken your fast as well as any man in the citadel, and with greater honor. This is a fortress and a tower of God, and is now in posture of war. We rise ere the sun and take a morsel in the grey light and go to our duties at the opening hour. But do not despair. He laughed again, seeing the dismay in Pippin's face. Those who have had heavy duty take somewhat to refresh their strength in the mid-morning. Then there is the nuncheon at noon, or after, as duties allow, and men gather for the day meal and such mirth as there still may be about the hour of sunset. Come, we will walk a little, and then go find us some refreshment, and eat and drink on the battlement, and survey the fair morning. One moment, said Pippin, blushing. Greed, or hunger by your courtesy, put it out of my mind, but Gandalf, Mithrandir as you call him, asked me to see to his horse, Shadowfax, a great steed of Rohan, and the apple of the king's eye, I am told, though he has given him to Mithrandir for his services. I think his new master loves the beast better than he loves many men, and if his goodwill is of any value to this city, you will treat Shadowfax with all honor, with greater kindness than you have treated this hobbit, if it is possible. Hobbit? Said Baragond. That is what we call ourselves, said Pippin. I am glad to learn it, said Baragond. For now I may say that strange accents do not mar fair speech, and hobbits are a fair-spoken folk. But come, you shall make me acquainted with this good horse. I love beasts, and we see them seldom in this stony city. Thanks, Tolkien.
Something. Can you tell me about the horn that Boromir bore in his gear?
No, but I can tell you about Goldberry, Merry Yellow Berry-O. From my people came from the mountain vales, and before that from Ithilien. But fear not, the visit shall be short, a mere call of courtesy, and we will go thence to the butteries.
Buttery? I hardly know her. That was even worse than I thought it was going to be when I said it out loud.
That was so bad. Pippin found that Shadowfax had been well housed and tended, for in the sixth circle outside the walls of the citadel there were some fair stables where a few swift horses were kept, hard by the lodgings of the errand riders of the lord. Messengers always ready to go at the urgent command of Denethor or his chief captains, who we never hear of again.
Indeed. Man,
nameless, faceless, just population all up in here.
Can I help you? She's biting my feet.
But now all the horses and the riders were out and away. Shadowfax whinnied as Pippin entered the stable and turned his head. "Good morning," said Pippin. "Gandalf will come as soon as he may. He is busy, but he sends greetings, and I am to see that all is well with you. And you resting, I hope, after your long labours." Shadowfax tossed his head and stamped, but he allowed Baragond to handle his head gently and stroke the great flanks. "He looks as if he were spoiling for a race, and not newly come from a great journey," said Baragond. "How strong and proud he is! Where is his harness? It should be rich and fair." "None is rich and fair enough for him," said Pippin. "He will have none. He's nude."
Behold a criminal.
"You toe muncher!"
Actually, my Achilles tendon. I think she's a fan of Greek mythology.
"If I sever this, they'll never be able to leave again."
She actually just wants me to play with her. If I sever this, they'll have to sit still and only play with me and my toys forever.
Right. I mean, she clearly has her agenda sorted out. If he will consent to bear you he does, and if not, well, no bit bridle, whip, or thong will tame him. Farewell, Shadowfax. Have patience. Battle is coming. But
I can't help but picture a different type of thong. I'm like, don't put the horse in a thong. That's definitely not going to help.
it won't tame him.
No.
Shadowfax lifted up his head and neighed so that the stable shook, and they covered their ears. Then they took their leave, seeing that the manger was well filled. Who put this baby here?
Hey, there's 3 dudes coming with some gold. They look kind of put out.
That's the captains. Oh. Do-do-do. And now for our manger, said Baragond, and he led Pippin back to the citadel, and so to a door in the north side of the great tower. There they went down a long, cool stair into a wide alley lit with lamps. There were hatches in the walls at the side, and one of these was open. This is the storehouse and buttery of my company of the guard, said Baragond. Greetings, Targon, he called through the hatch. It is early yet, but here is a newcomer that the Lord has taken into his service. I'm picturing Targon like,
where?
You fucking with me again, Baragond? He has ridden long and far with a tight belt, and he has had sore labor this morning, and he is hungry. Give us what you have. They got their bread and butter and cheese and apples. The last of the winter's store, wrinkled but sound and sweet, and a leather flagon of new-drawn ale, and wooden platters and cups. They put all into a wicker basket and climbed back into the sun, and Baragond brought Pippin to a place in the east end of the great out-thrust battlement where there was an embrasure in the walls with a stone seat beneath the sill. From there they could look out on the morning over the world. They ate and drank. So this is 700 feet high. That's a 70-story building. That's really, really high. Like, yeah. I'm not sure they're using the same feet that we use.
If they are, I, for one, would not sit on the edge. But, you know, that's just me and my fear of being smashed to death on rocks.
You don't even when you're that high. So I was in the Sears Tower once, and I think the girl and I made it to like the 99th floor. We didn't want to pay to get onto the observation deck, so we just wandered around the office spaces that were up in those high 90s. And we eventually found some windows, and it was hilarious and felt very illicit because we were like sneaking around. But it's not even real. The world is so far down, it's not real. You can't even see cars. Like, there's just... everything's this big. And I'm like, that's... From that height, if you look down on the army of Mordor, it would be like gnats. So, yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah.
I can't remember ever specifically being at 70 stories, but someday I will, and I'll be like, so this is how high they were from the Pelennor fields. They ate and drank, and they talked now of Gondor and its ways and customs, now of the Shire and the strange countries that Pippin had seen. And ever as they talked, Baragond was more amazed and looked with greater wonder at the hobbit, swinging his short legs as he sat on the seat, or standing tiptoe upon it to peer over the sill at the lands below. Whoa! Whoa! I will not hide from you. I don't know why it makes it stop, but it does. I will not hide from you, Master Peregrine, said Baragond. And this is the one. This makes me so fucking happy. that to us you look almost as one of our children, a lad of 9 summers or so, and yet you have endured perils and seen marvels that few of our greybeards could boast of. I thought it was a whim of our lord to take him a noble page, after the manner of the kings of old, they say. But I see that it is not so, and you must pardon my foolishness. I do, said Pippin, though you are not far wrong. I am still little more than a boy in the reckoning of my own people, and it will be 4 years yet before I come of age, as we say in the Shire. But do not bother about me. Come and look and tell me what I can see. Hardly anything. So, yeah, I'm like, how did the conversation go? Because Pippin has been through, he was chased by the 9 riders. And I always picture that, like, oh, the Nazgul come to harry us. Oh, Nazgul, don't even get me started. Those fuckers chased us through the Shire, my friends and I. The 9 riders chased you. Yeah, the Witch King stabbed my friend. The Witch King stabbed your friend. Uh-huh. But it was okay because we found the hidden city of the elves and my friend got healed and we set out on this journey. And yeah, but before that we were kidnapped by a tree ate us. And we were chased by Nazgul, we got eaten by a tree. We were rescued though by an immortal being who lives in the woods for no discernible reason.
Quite nice though. Lovely wife he has.
But then the Barrow-wights tried to, or Baragond would be like, that's a marvelous blade. Oh yes, I got it when we were kidnapped by a ghost in a barrow who tried to eat our souls. Really? He tried to eat your souls, did he? But the same immortal, we were rescued by an immortal. Same immortal. Yeah, same immortal. Rescued us twice. Yeah, that happened.
And is he here now?
Can you point to him?
That's a cute story, bud. That's so cool.
Yeah, no place gives us the nightmares that Mordor gives us. The only other place with a dark of a rumor is Moria. Oh, don't get me started on Moria. It wasn't fun. Gandalf died there. Did he?
Yes, yeah, but it's all right now. He came back. He got better.
He got better. So we went through Moria. We saw Balrog, and then we went to the other hidden city of the elves, the one that's got more elfness. And then and then we were kidnapped by orcs who dragged us through Rohan, but then we escaped and we spent a few days with some trees, walking, talking trees.
We were kidnapped by orcs. I've terrible PTSD from it, but anyway.
And next, Pippin, you're going to tell me that the Dark Lord interviewed you. Well, yeah. It was horrible. Why would you even bring that up? That hurts.
I'm not meant to talk about that. Did I mention that when Gandalf recovered from death, he got a lovely new cloak?
He got a lovely cloak. Oh. You see the scar? This is from when an orc tried to kidnap me and my friend and take us away and cut our heads off, but he got shot, and yeah.
At one point, they said they were going to cut off our legs, because we wouldn't need those. Leave them in front of us. Anyway, when's breakfast?
Right.
Like, talking to hobbits has got to be the weirdest thing, because they'll say the most grisly, upsetting shit and just like completely calmly, and then be like, "So, are there more oatcakes?"
Right. And yeah, and Pippin has been through all of these things. He never really thought of himself as going through all these things.
Right. It's like, imagine that you're supposed to babysit someone's nephew for a day, and he turns out to be like the most badass hardened warrior you've ever met in your life, and you're sitting there like, so I'm really scared right now.
who has in the past few months met every scary, frightening, or like perilous creature from all of your mythology. Like,
oh yeah, Mothman, yeah, he's fine.
right? All the cryptids. He's got he's got a collection of cryptids. Like,
he's like, yeah, we got chased by a chupacabra for a while.
Right. And I was there when Saruman's staff got broken, and yeah, we ate his salt pork. We ate the salt pork of Saruman, my friend and I.
And then we mooned his tower.
Like you do. Like, yeah. I would love to just write the conversation that Baragond is reacting to there, because that's all we get is his reaction, like
just eyes getting slowly wider and wider, like,
right?
You were where?
Like, oh, and I hope that the men of Rohan will come to us. Oh, I'm sure they will, but they did just fight a battle. I met their king. He's really, really nice. He likes talking about smoking. And yeah, he should. We were in a battle too. It was a different battle.
Yes, ours was with the walking trees.
Ours was with the walking trees and the destruction of Isengard. Yes.
We're solely responsible for the destruction of Isengard and the defeat of Saruman. Anyway, this is quite nice ale. When did they brew it?
We saw an entire forest walking. we saw. Oh, shit. What else have they seen? So much. The Argonath. I'm sure nobody in Minas Tirith goes on a field trip to go see the Argonath anymore. Like, oh, do the old Stone Kings still stand? Oh, hell yeah! They're there. They're fucking scary. But not as scary as the orcs that tried to kill us just upriver.
And also they murdered your prince. I mean, what?
Right. Oh, God. Yeah.
Sorry, that part's a bit of a downer.
Yeah, this is the dialogue I try to write in my head when I have insomnia, because it's just so entertaining, and you know that he would have found an innocent and innocuous way to introduce every one of his 30 weird experiences into the conversation.
Yeah. See, you do more useful things when you have insomnia than me, because last night when I had insomnia, I realized, okay, stay with me here. What kind of crimes could a steamboat commit to get sent to hell? Because they don't, like, sin requires free will, right? So if the steamboat had free will, then we have to grapple with the actions of Miss Susie, who was holding it as some sort of indentured servant. So my point here is that either Miss Susie and the steamboat both went to heaven, or they both went to hell.
Maybe she had the steamboat in the biblical sense.
That's not better.
But it is. It's better than, I mean, intercourse is better than indentured servitude.
True, but like, can steamboats meaningfully consent?
If it could sin, then it could consent.
So now we're back to, what did the steamboat do to get sent to hell?
Well, I'm sure the bell was involved.
It does seem to be implied, but it is not a sin to own a bell. I have many. The cat plays with them.
Yes, but maybe the implication of the line is that when the steamboat has a bell, something bad happened with the bell, because it follows.
So it committed bell crimes?
It committed a bell crime. Maybe it stole the bell. Maybe it's the Liberty Bell.
The steamboat broke the Liberty Bell. All right. Well, I think we've solved it.
There you go.
Anyway, that's what I did last night.
Also, how exactly do you kick an operator from behind? If you
well,
can,
you have to go to the phone company,
right?
and be very, very sneaky.
Very sneaky, or very just indiscriminate, because you'll never know which operator is the one that cut you off.
I mean, presumably you would know their voice. You would just have to kind of go around and listen until you heard the voice.
Pretend that you had been that you were the inspector for some.
Bring a clipboard.
Yeah, and a tie.
And then you find the right operator and you kick them, sir. And on that note,
what was Miss Susie doing behind the refrigerator, other than hurting herself on the piece of glass? What broke? Was it a glass bell that broke? Did the steamboat commit crime that resulted in Miss Susie getting hurt on her? Ask me no more questions.
I don't know. This has become such a. I need like the Twilight Zone music, the like.
Actually, Twilight Zone is more like.
Okay, I'm thinking of something else then. You know the song I'm thinking of.
But we need the red thread. We need the red thread because Miss Susie's come back on a piece of glass. There was only one. Why is there so much space behind the fridge?
Also unclear. Maybe she was doing some renovations?
Oh.
I mean, you'd have to modify your house quite a bit if you were going to bring a steamboat into it.
And yeah. And it could be an industrial fridge, and she's in the alley behind it, which is a much more likely place to find a piece of glass.
Indeed. Okay, well, I'm going to go.
Okay. But we have established that the steamboat definitely has free will and commit a sin of some sort.
Indeed.
Maybe it didn't commit a sin. Maybe it was on an Orpheus quest. It didn't say it stayed in hell.
Is the steamboat the ship that goes back and forth across the river Styx?
It could be that. Or it could.
Is Miss Susie the dude who ferries souls? I forget his name, but you know who I mean.
Chiron.
Is Miss Susie's last name Chiron?
Is it Chiron, or is Chiron a centaur?
I don't know. This is. I think.
All right,
I think it is Chiron.
Yeah, help us with this mystery. It needs to be unraveled. And I love you.
And I love you too. And I will see you next week.
All right, Queen Otto.
Meow mas.
Bye.